Okay, there you heard the doctor mention 10 days. 10 days to quarantine, which may be referring to 10 days of darkness. So then the news reports start coming out on Friday. Breaking, President Trump is being taken to Walter Reed National Medical Center. Trump will walk to Marine One. Reports President Trump has a fever, chills, congestion, and a cough. Marine One lands at the White House to take President Trump to Walter Reed. President in, quote, good spirits, and, quote, has been working throughout the day. I'm doing very well, quote. President Trump releases message for public before heading to Walter Reed. President Trump taps on Marine One railing as a signal to America, I'm going to be all right. So as Marine One helicopter landed and President Trump aborted, he took his right hand and he tapped the railing twice, indicating everything's going to be okay. And then other news articles started coming out how Trump and Hicks spent a week before the coronavirus diagnosis, and they had an interview with White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows at the White House out on the grounds. And then these stories started to emerge. White House reporters named Mark Meadows as an anonymous source who contradicted doctors' rosy report on Trump. And this report, Trump said to be improving, but next 48 hours are critical, unquote. Meanwhile, stock futures plunge after President Trump confirms he has coronavirus. And then this shocking news came out at 9:42 in the evening on Friday night. Kellyanne Conway, former advisor president who's now left the White House to be with her family, announces she has tested positive for COVID-19. That was a shocker. That night, President Trump is at Walter Reed Army Hospital, and the Gateway Pundit reports, best president ever. President Trump has Mark Meadows hand out chocolates to supporters outside of Walter Reed Hospital. Now, with the news that President Trump spreading around the country all day on Friday, Democrats, liberals, libertards, Hollywood celebrities poured on the hate on President Trump. Vile Democrats show their true colors in response to Trump announcing he and Melania tested positive for coronavirus. Sick. 40% of Democrats happy after President Trump comes down with coronavirus. Trump haters rejoicing in his testing positive for COVID-19 in Hollywood and in Congress, including AOC. The Washington Post, which I call the Washington compost pile newspaper, tweets after President Trump coronavirus news, and then they write, imagine what it will be like to never have to think about Donald Trump again. Well, guess what? They deleted that tweet. They were contemplating his demise, was the Washington Post. Also that night, or that day, on Twitter, someone posted named Joseph J. Flynn about the comings and goings of President Trump and his coronavirus positive test. And they're referring to Sidney Powell, the attorney for General Michael Flynn. And Joseph Flynn writes on Twitter, hey, Sidney Powell, don't you think now would be perfect timing for John Durham to announce indictments for all the thugs? Trump could tweet from his cozy bed for 14 days straight. Well, that's not going to happen. They're not going to indict all these people right before the election because that would look like election interference. Most of the indictments are going to come after the election. There might be a few beforehand. Let's go to Saturday, October 3rd, just yesterday. President Trump and top Republicans, but no Democrats, contract COVID. Now Cleveland announces outbreak connected to presidential debate, with only top Republicans, including President Trump, conducting the China coronavirus this week. Americans are curious why no Democrats contracted the virus. Anti-Trump hack reporter Chris Wallace, Fox News, pushes a rumor that President Trump is very ill and his doctors can't be trusted. Chris Wallace is something else. This guy, what? I should hold my tongue on him. Confusion mounts, the Breitbart News reported on Saturday, as White House doctors offer contradicting details of Trump's condition. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows confirms Trump's condition deteriorated on Friday. White House doctor says he's extremely happy with progress President Trump has made since being diagnosed with COVID fever for 24 hours. White House physician late night update, President Trump doing very well, not on supplemental oxygen for breathing. And White House physician says President Trump making progress but not out of the woods yet. Trump's physician says he's doing very well but cautious as COVID-19 can reveal itself during upcoming inflammatory phase. And then the New York Post reports, I'm going to beat this. President Trump tells Rudy Giuliani of COVID-19 during a phone call. Then another shocking development occurred yesterday. Chris Christie, former governor of New Jersey and a confidant and friend of President Trump, is in the hospital after being diagnosed with COVID-19. Chris Christie checks into hospital after a positive COVID diagnosis. So that's the third one, in addition to the First Lady and President Trump in his inner circle. You had Hope Hicks, Kellyanne Conway, and now Chris Christie, all reporting having COVID-19 diagnosis. Positive result. Meanwhile, Sleepy Joe Biden says, be patriotic. We can save 100,000 lives in the next 100 days. Joe Biden calls for a nationwide mask mandate following news of Trump COVID diagnosis. Despite President Trump contracting the China coronavirus, all signs are now that COVID-19 is dissipating in America. The Democrats and the media would like Americans to believe that the China coronavirus is not over yet. They now believe that they can use the president's illness as proof, but the real picture is that the China coronavirus is waning. So, President Trump sends out a message from Walter Reed Army Hospital. I'll be back soon. President Trump says he's feeling much better, but ready for the real test in video from Walter Reed Hospital. President Trump continues to do well, but is not yet out of the woods, his doctor says. So President Trump put out a message on his Twitter account, and he's in Walter Reed Hospital, supposedly, and he's sitting at a desk without a tie, and here's what he had to say.
I want to begin by thanking all of the incredible medical professionals, the doctors, the nurses, everybody at Walter Reed Medical Center. I think it's the finest in the world for the incredible job they've been doing. I came here, wasn't feeling so well. I feel much better now. We're working hard to get me all the way back. I have to be back because we still have to make America great again. We've done an awfully good job of that. But we still have steps to go, and we have to finish that job. And I'll be back. I think I'll be back soon. And I look forward to finishing up the campaign the way it was started and the way we've been doing and the kind of numbers that we've been doing. We've been so proud of it. But this was something that happened, and it's happened to millions of people all over the world, and I'm fighting for them, not just in the U.S. I'm fighting for them all over the world. We're going to beat this coronavirus, or whatever you want to call it, and we're going to beat it soundly. So many things have happened. If you look at the therapeutics, which I'm taking right now, some of them, and others are coming out soon that are looking like, frankly, they're miracles. If you want to know the truth, they're miracles. People criticize me when I say that, but we have things happening that look like they're miracles coming down from God. So I just want to tell you that I'm starting to feel good. You don't know over the next period of a few days. I guess that's the real test. So we'll be seeing what happens over those next couple of days. I just want to be so thankful for all of the support I've seen, whether it's on television or reading about it. I most of all appreciate what's been said by the American people, by almost a bipartisan consensus of American people. It's a beautiful thing to see, and I very much appreciate it, and I won't forget it. I promise you that. I also want to thank the leaders of the world for their condolences, and they know what we're going through. They know what, as your leader, what I have to go through. But I had no choice because I just didn't want to stay in the White House. I was given that alternative. Stay in the White House, lock yourself in, don't ever leave, don't even go to the Oval Office. Just stay upstairs and enjoy it. Don't see people, don't talk to people, and just be done with it. And I can't do that. I had to be out front, and this is America. This is the United States. This is the greatest country in the world. This is the most powerful country in the world. I can't be locked up in a room upstairs and totally safe and just say, hey, whatever happens, happens. I can't do that. We have to confront problems. As a leader, you have to confront problems. There's never been a great leader that would have done that. So that's where it is. I'm doing well. I want to thank everybody. Our First Lady is doing very well. Melania asked me to say something as to the respect that she has for our country, the love that she has for our country. And we're both doing well. Melania is really handling it very nicely. As you've probably read, she's slightly younger than me, just a little tiny bit. And therefore, just we know the disease, we know the situation with age versus younger people. And Melania is handling it statistically like it's supposed to be handled. And that makes me very happy, and it makes the country very happy. But I'm also doing well, and I think we're going to have a very good result. Again, over the next few days, we're going to probably know for sure. So I just want to thank everybody out there, everybody, all over the world, specifically the United States. The outpouring of love has been incredible. I will never forget. Thank you very much.
All right, that was President Trump on his Twitter page yesterday, October 3rd, and you heard him talk in the beginning there about we're talking about the whole world because there's a worldwide operation going on right now. Now, the Gateway Pundit reported yesterday in the evening that the WHO, the World Health Organization, finally agrees our March analysis was correct. The WHO's early coronavirus mortality rate was irresponsibly overstated, and we called them out with the correct numbers. Let's go to the headlines for today. A bomb squad responds to suspicious bag found amid rally outside Walter Reed Hospital, which is treating President Trump. Meanwhile, leftists outside the hospital, crazy lunatics, chant F Trump outside Walter Reed Hospital. I hope he dies. These deranged people with Trump derangement syndrome, there's so many of them. Update from today. President Trump's medical team says Saturday comments by Mark Meadows were misconstrued by the media. So again, confusion about President Trump's actual real health status. And I think this was all done intentionally, folks, to confuse the media. Meanwhile, individuals from neither party were treated for COVID at the Cleveland debate. There was an honor system, but only Republicans contracted the COVID. Very strange. And finally, today, a couple of things. President Trump leaves Walter Reed Hospital in a motorcade for a quick drive and a wave to excited supporters outside the medical center. And Dan Scavino puts out some photographs on Twitter. President goes for a ride to thank supporters who have gathered outside Walter Reed Medical Hospital. Lots and lots of people out there there to support the president. So what does President Trump do? He puts out another video message today at 2:16 p.m. And this is what he had to say today. This is a much shorter message.
We're getting great reports from the doctors. This is an incredible hospital, Walter Reed. The work they do is just absolutely amazing, and I want to thank them all. The nurses, the doctors, everybody here. I've also gotten to meet some of the soldiers and the first responders, and what a group. I also think we're going to pay a little surprise to some of the great patriots that we have out on the street, and they've been out there for a long time, and they've got Trump flags, and they love our country. So I'm not telling anybody but you, but I'm about to make a little surprise visit. So perhaps I'll get there before you get to see me. But I just, when I look at the enthusiasm, and we have enthusiasm like probably nobody's ever had. Our people that love the job we're doing, we have more enthusiasm than maybe anybody. So it's been a very interesting journey. I learned a lot about COVID. I learned it by really going to school. This is the real school. This isn't the let's read the book school. And I get it, and I understand it, and it's a very interesting thing, and I'm going to be letting you know about it. In the meantime, we love the USA, and we love what's happening. Thank you.
So, did you catch the last 3 words? 4 words. We love, what's that? We love what is happening. 4 words. So, what's happening, folks, is a major operation. We are now, folks, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the thick of it. We are in the final stages. The marathon is coming to an end. All this long journey of when President Trump was elected in these 4 years is all about ready to climax, to reach a climactic point with the upcoming November 3rd, 2020 election. So let's decode all of these President Trump tweets, statements, videos, and Q drops. Now, one of the best I've seen out there, and I'm going to quote from it for a bit here, is from And We Know. And he put out a video which you all should take a look at. It's entitled 10/2/20, 10 Days of Darkness, Quarantine, Red October. Okay? That's on YouTube, on the And We Know YouTube channel. So President Trump's original announcement on Twitter about his COVID-19 diagnosis comes exactly a 2-year delta from Q drop number 2318, which was put out on October 2nd, 2018, in which Q wrote something rather interesting. So that Q message, which is number 2316, I'm sorry, I said 2318. It's 2316 from October 2nd, 2018. And Q wrote, "Are you registered to vote by November 8th? These people are sick." And then in the link below, it says, tested positive in the link itself to an article. And someone on Twitter said, "Is that a coincidence?" Well, what are the odds of being posted with the exact 2-year delta? Q drop 2316, test positive, sick. Coincidence? So, let's go to President Trump's original tweet about Hope Hicks, which had occurred a little bit earlier that day. If you take the name Hope Hicks, the 2 H's in Hope Hicks are an 88, which refers to an older Q post, number 88, which reads, it's from November 5th, 2017, reads, 10 Days of Darkness, Scare Tactics, Mainstream Media, Democrats Falling, Republicans Walk Away, Removed. How about that? So HH is an 88, which refers to Q drop 88, from November 5th, 2017. Now, let's go back to President Trump's tweet on testing positive again. Pardon me. So, again, let's read the tweet from President Trump. Tonight, The First Lady and I tested positive for COVID-19. We'll begin our quarantine and recovery process immediately. We will get through this together. Now, together is all capitalized. If you break down the word together, you get this phrase, to get her. Who is her? Her is Hillary. We're going to get Hillary. Now, meanwhile, there's a headline that appeared that day. Guantanamo Bay ordered to prepare for high-level American prisoners. Now, actually, that came out on September the 30th. How about that? 2020. And then this, of course, relates back to an older Q message. Those who cannot sleep, D5, Red October, Q. So, the word together, okay? So let's, again, go back to President Trump's tweet. We will begin the process immediately. We will get her, Hillary. In other words, we will begin our quarantine and recovery process immediately. We will get through this together. Breaks down to, we will begin the process immediately to get her, Hillary. All right, let's go decode the mouse clock, okay? So someone on Twitter wrote, Hillary got caught, quoting President Trump on Sean Hannity that night. Clinton got caught, Comey got caught, they all got caught, and Obama too. Since it's Red October, hold on very tight, big things ahead. Now this of course relates to Q drop 4800, the hunters become the hunted, where Red October is in all caps. And if we go further and look at the clock, remember the Mickey Mouse clock? Pepe Lives Matter wrote on Twitter, to summarize, President Trump says it's time for arrest. Q says marathon ended. The clock said 10/2, October 2nd. The same day, Trump War Room tweets Evergreen. What's Evergreen code for? That's the code name, the Secret Service code name for, you guessed it, Hillary Clinton. Pepe Lives Matter continues. Trump goes into quarantine for safety. The Clinton Foundation announced as the criminal investigation. Red October. Rake for red. See all the connections that are being made here. And we see that President Trump had posted, and that's the one I was looking for, the Hope Hicks tweet was at 10:44 p.m., which relates again to Q drop 1044, which I read earlier for you. See how all of this is starting to connect. Now, also, we look at the clock, the Mickey Mouse clock, from Q drop 4730 on September 16th, and it relates to Q drop 713 from February 10th, 2018. Now listen to this tweet, folks, or this Q drop. Listen to this. This is number 713 from February 10, 2018. Seals are wonderful creatures. Heard they work fast at capturing their prey. And then the word prey in all caps, P-R-A-Y. Silence is golden. Corona offline. D-class 0000. Games are fun. Q. So, remember we said the clock said 10:2. Well, the mirror of that is 2:10. That's the tweet I just read to you. February 10th, 2/10/2018. How about that? Now, let's go to Melania Trump's tweet about Red October. And then the White House was lit up red the same night she wears the red outfit. And you see that there's a connection. And Pepe Lives Matter on Twitter says, to summarize, President Trump says it's time for arrest. Q says marathon ended. The clock said 10:2. Trump War Room tweets evergreen. Now this relates back, folks. What this all goes back to is a Q drop 44 from November 2nd, 2017. And Q wrote, before the president departs on Friday, he will be sending out an important message via Twitter. God bless. The important message that Q says the president's going to post on Twitter is, ladies and gentlemen, now he'll board Air Force One and he'll write, ladies and gentlemen, the storm is upon us. Now, how about all that? Now, here's more decodes for you. So, let's talk about the 10 days of darkness. So again, this is further from Anons from Twitter. So tonight, the First Lady and I tested positive for COVID-19. We'll begin our quarantine recovery process immediately. We'll get through this together. President Trump's tweet. Secondly, there's every chance they actually do not have the COVID-19. And this is part of the alliance plan. President Trump was always expected to disappear once the big arrest started. They will both be safe in quarantine. Oh, and their COVID will be magically cured by HCQ, hydroxychloroquine, paving the way for our countries to open up around the world. Deadly disease, no more. We could be seeing the start of the long-awaited 10 days of darkness. Stormy Patriot Joe does a great tweet linking the Mickey Mouse clock 10-2 to the date of 2nd October and the potential for the 10 days of darkness. And what Stormy Patriot Joe put up a picture of the White House and read, and a quote from the president, it's time to move. Continuing on, the president and the first lady quarantined is a signal that big events are about to happen. Here's what President Trump said at the latest rally. It's about time that something happens. It's enough. We've got plenty of information on these crooks, bunch of crooks. It's time to move. This tweet links Q drop number 1044 to 10 Days of Darkness. 1044 was the time President first tweeted about his quarantine. Note the words in the Q drop. So in other words, folks, President Trump in that speech at that rally in Duluth, Minnesota that I played you earlier, it's about time that something happens. It's enough. We've got plenty of information on these crooks. He's saying the same thing Q says. We have it all. We've got it all. We have all the evidence we need. Now it's time to move on them. And here we are in the month of October, and it's all going down right now. Now, do I think the president and the first lady have the coronavirus? Absolutely not. I do not think that they have. This is all a big ruse to have an excuse to put them into quarantine to protect them. And they're telling a little bit of a white lie here in order to pull off this operation. I was shocked that X22 seems to think the president does have the COVID in his latest video report from X22, but I don't agree with that. I think there's just no way because of all the other evidence. Obviously, 10-2, the date of 10-2 was set up a long time ago to be the date when all of this would start. How would the president, if he really had coronavirus, how could they time that? Now, there's more to this story. If you recall, Q first appeared for the very first time on the date of October 28th, 2017. The very first Q drop, number 1, posted by just Anonymous, and it read this. So Anonymous wrote, Hillary Clinton will be arrested at 7:45 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday, the morning of October 30th, 2017. And then, in a response to that, Anonymous as Q as Anonymous wrote, the HRC extradition already in motion, effective yesterday, with several countries in case of cross-border run. Passport approved to be flagged effective 10:30 at 12:01 a.m. Expect massive riots organized in defiance and others fleeing the U.S. to occur. U.S. Marines will conduct the operation while National Guard activated. Proof check. Locate a National Guard member and ask if activated for duty 10:30 across most major cities. Well, what's happening, folks, is my sources have told me. Now remember, we decoded the word together, to get her. Hillary Clinton is going to be arrested on the third anniversary of Q on Wednesday, October 28, 2020. Okay? Now granted, the real Hillary died on the sidewalk of New York City on September 11, 2016. So it would only be for optics to arrest a clone or a lookalike or a double of Hillary. And they are expecting riots as a result of this. And the military is prepared for all of this. So this is what's really going on, folks. It's a massive military Q intelligence Patriots operation, and it began on October 1st. And here we are, right smack in the middle of it, and it's going to be unfolding throughout this month of October and well into November. Now, despite all this going on, this craziness, new poll results show President Trump ahead nationally in swing states and in the Electoral College. New polling shows that President Trump has taken the lead nationally in key battleground states. How about that? Amazing. Let's get into other big news of this week. Let's go back to September 30th on Wednesday and do some Q drops that came out after our call on Wednesday. Let's go to Q drop 4794. This is really quite a story here. Q links to an article entitled "The CIA Blocking Release of Additional Documents." According to Sean Davis, CIA Director Gina Haspel is blocking declassification of remaining Russiagate documents. Q writes in response, excuse me, "Some believe the protection of agency is what matters most. In other words, protection of the agency is the CIA." Q continues, "Some believe the declassification of public exposure of truth and rebuilding of agency is what matters most. Apply same to FBI. Apply same to the State Department. ... Any attempt to buck the system, no matter the severity of crime, and they will fight back. Self-preservation, shadow game. Prevent public exposure of truth. Why? People united have the power that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that when any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter and to abolish it, and to institute a new government, laying its foundation on such principles, and organizing its power in such form as to them shall most likely affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, would dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security." And then Q adds, "Tyranny like hell is not easily conquered, yet we have this consolation with us that neither the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph." Q. So that was Q drop 4794 from September 30th. Quite interesting. Now let's go to Q drop 4796. And we have a series of images that are posted. Now, Anon writes, Deep State Alert. James Comey's daughter, Maureen Comey's husband, is taking over for Aubrey Strauss, the U.S. Attorney of Southern District of New York, who indicted Ghislaine Maxwell, in a link to the Twitter page. And Nurse Deplorable writes, hold up, U.S. Attorney of Southern District of New York steps down and Lucas Issacharoff steps in. This is James Comey's son-in-law, married to a Maureen Comey, James Comey's daughter. Isn't this something else? Q writes, eyes on, follow the family, Q. Next Q drop, 4797. Anon writes, and links a screenshot, James Comey's daughter inspected missing Epstein suicide footage. Q. Comey's daughter investigated Epstein's suicide, and her husband does Ghislaine Maxwell's case. Q adds, do you believe in coincidences? Q. Q drop 4798, and it's a screenshot. Facebook says, as part of its recent crackdown on QAnon and militia movements, it has removed 6,500 groups belonging to 300 organizations. And the Anon writes, Facebook says as part of its recent crackdown on QAnon, and links to the article, and which I just read you the headline. And Q adds, information warfare, Q, from September 30th, 4798. 4799, Q drop, a screenshot of a New York Times article, rebuffed by the Vatican. Mike Pompeo assails China and aligns with the Pope's critics. Pope Francis declined to see Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who is demanding a harder Vatican line on China. The Holy See said meeting just before a U.S. election would be inappropriate. So I'll just read you a little bit of this article. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo recently published a sharp letter excoriating the Vatican's plans to renew an agreement with the Chinese government on church operations in China. He promoted the article in a tweet concluding the Vatican endangers its moral authority and should it renew the deal. An indignant Vatican took the article more as a calculated affront than a diplomatic gesture. The friction broke into open on Wednesday as Mr. Pompeo arrived in Rome and met with prelates and others who are hostile to Pope Francis, while the Vatican denied him a meeting with the pontiff and rebuffed his efforts to derail the deal with China. Pompeo asked to meet the Pope, who turned him down because Francis had clearly said he does not receive political figures ahead of the elections. Cardinal Pietro Parolin, who is Secretary of State, is the Vatican's second-ranking official, told reporters. Folks, do you see what's going on? The Trump administration, through Mike Pompeo, is now negotiating with the anti-Pope Francis crowd to take over the Vatican. Very interesting. Q adds then this. I'm reading number 4799 on September 30th. When does a church become a playground? When does a church become a business? When does a church become political? When does a church become corrupt? When does a church become willfully blind? And when does a church become controlled? Q. Q drop 4800 again. To end that day on September 30th, as President Trump is talking in Minnesota, Q posts a graphic of the hunt is on, hunters become the hunted. All in red, with a picture of President Trump and the obelisk beside him, the Washington Monument. And Q adds Red October. Q. Let's go to Thursday, October 1st. Headlines. Huge story. U.S. Marshal Service announces a rescue of more than 1,300 missing children. including victims of sex trafficking. President Trump has doubled the number of rescues. Meanwhile, a white supremacist who organized the Charlottesville race riots has endorsed Joe Biden. Can you believe it? Let's go to another story here. Kayleigh McEnany gave a press conference this week, and she said Donald Trump has condemned white supremacy more than any modern president in U.S. history. Well, that was not good enough for John Roberts of Fox News. Kayleigh McEnany drop-kicks CBS hack Paula Reed. You claim to be so outraged and offended by Trump interrupting Biden, but that's all you do here. So, after the news conference, Fox News hack John Roberts loses it. He whines over Twitter attacks after he refuses to accept President Trump's denunciation of white supremacists. When is the answer yes, not good enough? Meanwhile, another Fox News hack, Chris Wallace, plays the victim after his horrific performance at first presidential debate. Fox News anchor Chris Wallace gave his impression of the first debate today in an interview on Fox News. Wallace saw himself as the victim of a debate because of the president's actions. Well, of course. In Fox News, Wallace says President Trump bears the primary responsibility for what happened at the chaotic debate. Meanwhile, in the Senate, Chuck Schumer calls for postponing Amy Coney Barrett's Senate hearings because of the coronavirus that was contracted by President Trump. What does that have to do with the Supreme Court? Meanwhile, Breitbart News reports the New York Times is wrong. President Trump paid millions of taxes in 2017. The New York Times reported that President Trump paid like $200 or some ridiculous amount. Facebook removes 216 Donald Trump ads about Joe Biden in COVID and refugees. Wow. 216 ads. Can you believe that? That is a lot. Pardon me while I rearrange myself here. Okay. And Breitbart News also reported Facebook removes President Trump's campaign ads. Facebook has reportedly removed a recent ad from the Trump campaign claiming that the ad features factually incorrect information about refugees and the coronavirus pandemic. Meanwhile, the NBA, which of course is promoting Black Lives Matter, is just endlessly. The viewership for the NBA Finals, this is the championship series, are down by 45%, the lowest since 1994. I guess it's not going over very well for most Americans. Yet woke go broke. Game 1 of the 2020 NBA Finals loses half of its 2019 audience, according to early ratings. Let's go to the Q drops for October 1st, Thursday. Now, there was a story that was reported by the Fox News. The Trump campaign calls out second debate moderator who interned for Joe Biden and worked for Teddy Kennedy. And Q writes on Q drop 4801, Steve Scully is the moderator for the second presidential debate. And a link to his profile from the School of Media and Public Affairs, Steve Scully worked for Joe Biden. How about that? While attending college, he served as an intern in the office of Delaware Senator Joseph R. Biden. And Q adds a rigged system. Q. Now, this is Q drop 4802 from October 1st. A spy campaign failed. Russia has failed. Andrew Weissman and Robert Mueller have failed. Leaks have failed. Fake news reports have failed. Impeachment has failed. The CDC, who recommend do not close the border, has failed. And then Q has a blank space. What else has failed? Listen to this, folks. What if COVID-19 didn't even exist? The economy today, the unemployment today, trade today, China phase 2 held accountable, rally, the president versus Biden attendance, Biden interviews at the non-basement, Biden questions non-basement, removal of delays regarding John Durham, grand jury and interviews and testimony plus D-class, removal of Biden ammunition, presidential debate 1, 2, and 3, 200,000 dead, down economy, unemployment, debt, removal of the mail-in balloting, harvesting, and fraud, normal in-person voting, removal of tech tyranny, censorship, WHO Foundation, anti-WHO, suspend, terminate, C-19 basis, removal of bailout attempt regarding California, New York, in a debt solution, the mathematical probability of C-19 event as a solution to above, perfectly timed window of opportunity start regarding the impact of the November 3rd presidential election advantage Democrats. Who benefits the most? And a link to a New York Times article. The Trump administration strips the CDC of control of coronavirus data. Hospitals have been ordered to bypass the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and send all patient information to a central database in Washington, raising questions about transparency. Q adds, why did the White House strip CDC control of the C-19 data? Bigger than you can imagine. Q. Folks, the CDC, the NIH, the WHO, Dr. Anthony Fauci, Dr. Deborah Birx, and on it goes, have all been exposed for their corruption through this pandemic. That is huge. Q-Drop 4803. Fake doctored image video dropped here regarding Epstein cell cam, explicitly designed to ban, terminate any Twitter users reposting. Do not take the bait. Use discernment. Q. Then a link, Q-Drop 4804, October 1st. A link to the Justice Department. Listen to this, folks. Another bombshell. The United States obtains final judgment and permanent injunction against Edward Snowden. Wow, that's big. That's from the Department of Justice press release on October the 1st. And then Q-Drop 4805, a link to YouTube. President Trump, a video, condemns white supremacists 2 days after Charlottesville violence. That was posted on August 14, 2017. This is the video of the announcement of the press conference. President Trump denounced white supremacy, but they just will not acknowledge it, no matter how many times he does it. Q adds, how many times must it be said? It's pushed every election. Why? Divided we fall, the Democratic Party con projection. Q. So the Democratic Party is totally, their whole game plan is identity politics, racism, racism, racism. That's all they know to push. Meanwhile, Q-Drop 4806, a link to Dave Rubin, the Rubin Report on Twitter. Wow, this is Chris Wallace asking Donald Trump the same question in 2016. any journalists want to share this. This is the white supremacist question. Chris Wallace asked the same question. He already asked it in 2016. President Trump answered him definitively, but he brought it up again at the first debate. Chris Wallace is part of the deep state. There is no doubt about it. Q adds, Democratic Party con, Democratic Party playbook. Who are the real racists? The world is waking up. Q. Well, the real racists are the Democratic Party. They're the ones that founded the KKK. They are the ones that oppose the abolition of slavery. They are the ones that oppose giving women the right to vote. Let's go to Friday, October 2nd. The Gateway Pundit put out this article, Enough is Enough. Sign the petition to boycott Trump hater Chris Wallace in Fox News Sunday. Meanwhile, attorney Lynn Wood, who represented, you recall, the Covington High School Catholic group and Nicholas Sandmann, announces that a lawsuit against the Biden-Harris campaign for libel after discussing racist smears of Kyle Rittenhouse. This is a young man Lynn Wood is defending in the state of Wisconsin. Okay, let's go to Saturday headlines. And we're going to wrap things up here soon. Peaceful Black Lives Matter Antifa goons hurl explosive at Seattle police and vandalize businesses. This was last night in Seattle. Meanwhile, the D.C. Antifa ringleader, Jason Charter, this is the guy who was the ringleader to try and pull down the Andrew Jackson statue across the street from the White House, is arrested again at a walkaway rally and cried his eyes out waiting for transport to booking. Amazing. Meanwhile, here's another huge development, folks. For all of you listening tonight in the great state of Michigan, the Michigan Supreme Court rules that Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer exceeded her powers during the coronavirus pandemic. Thank God the the Michigan Supreme Court steps up and actually does the people a favor. Now, Joe Biden is quoted as saying this yesterday. I probably shouldn't say this, Biden said, as he goes on a bizarre rant and warns governors not to endorse him because Trump will cut off their COVID aid. Can you believe this? Joe Biden. Meanwhile, the Joe Biden campaign is in trouble, announces it will partake in more events after speaking in front of less than 200 supporters since Labor Day. A body language expert alleges numerous indications in the presidential debate that Joe Biden may have been wearing a wire. Well, yeah, of course he was. Meanwhile, the many similarities between the Democratic Party's maneuvers in the 2020 election, which compare exactly to Lenin's maneuvers in the Russian election 100 years ago. How about that? It's a total blueprint for the Democratic Party. Now, here's another massive story, folks. President Trump is to appoint Tom Fitton to a court oversight which has the power to remove certain judges for misconduct. President Trump plans to name Judicial Watch's President Tom Fitton to a court oversight agency which has the power to remove certain judges for misconduct. Wow. President Trump appoints Larry Elder and Tom Fitton to a Trump administration. So he also appointed talk show host Larry Elder to a position as well. And this is a nominations and appointments on the White House website. President Donald J. Trump announced his intent to appoint individuals to key administration posts. So Lawrence Allen Elder of California is to be a member of the Commission on the Social Status of Black Men and Boys. So that includes also Tom Fitton as of the District of Columbia to be a member of the District of Columbia Commission on Judicial Disabilities and Tenure. See how he's moving all of these key people into places? Okay. So, finishing up here. A new report reveals billionaire Bill Gates, Jeffrey Epstein, and the Nobel Committee chair are behind Obama's award in 2013. A new report out of Norway uncovered the former Nobel Committee chair, Thorbjørn Jagland, denied having met Jeffrey Epstein, but now he confirmed that he entertained Epstein and billionaire Bill Gates at his Strasbourg residence in 2013. Now, I want to finish up here with our intel. And this is a great video I want to finish up. By the way, it's just another sort of couple stories here to wrap it up. There's a new movement growing. It's called Americans Against Unconstitutional Mask Mandates. And it's apparently now in Pennsylvania, and it's also moving across the country. Now, meanwhile, I just saw this report yesterday on the New York Post website. There's a new documentary out about Abraham Lincoln, President Abraham Lincoln, and it probes whether Abraham Lincoln's deathbed photo is actually him. I found this interesting that they're bringing up Abraham Lincoln and his deathbed photo as President Trump is under attack from the cabal. Is this a message that this photo has emerged a subtle threat against President Trump? Very interesting. All right, let's finish up. I want to play you one last audio clip here. And this comes from a video, and this is a bishop speaking in Atlanta, Georgia. It comes from the Black Economic Empowerment Forum that I believe occurred very recently in Atlanta, Georgia. And this bishop, who I'm not sure his name, I was looking to find it, but he said something about Donald Trump's reelection and what it means to black people. Take a listen to this, and I want to leave you with this quote, this clip today.
Hey, did you see what happened with the FBI today? They caught them.
Well, I'm sorry, wrong one. Wrong one, my apologies. My apologies. Okay, let's hope I have the right one here.
Breaking news this morning, President Trump...
Nope, wrong one. Okay, pardon me while I upload it. My apologies. I uploaded the wrong clip, but I want to end this with you today, and I'll do that right now, and we'll get this up for you so we can play it for you. And this is a great quote, and this is very inspiring, so we want to leave you with this. And I've just got to find it here. Okay, hold on just a second as I stall for time. And I'm just looking to find it. I'm not seeing it here in my list. Pardon me while I just... look for it here, and we'll get it up for you. Okay. Oh, it's such a great clip, and I really want to finish up with this today. And for some reason it's not showing up here. Oh, I know why. Okay, here we go. I figured it out. My apologies while I get this uploaded here, and then we'll play it for you. Okay, and we're going to take your questions here in just a bit, and we're going to finish up our intel as soon as I can play this clip for you. And the system will allow me to do that. Okay. Here we go. Okay. I found it, and we're going to play it for you right now as soon as it's uploaded, and we'll end up, and then we're going to go to your questions. So thanks for your patience while I get my act together here. I had so many audio clips I wanted to play you tonight, and I want to make sure I get this one in. This will be our last one for tonight. Okay, again, this is from the Black Economic Forum. So let's take a listen to this. And this is a certain bishop talking about President Trump's reelection.
President Boone, and I fully support and expect Donald J. Trump to be the next president of the United States. I know a little bit about his background, and his forefathers, from the Hebrides Islands. One of the greatest revivals we know in history came from the Hebrides Islands. And so what they're noted for is Calvinism. And Calvinism says that there is a manifest destiny over your life. And this man and his forefathers have said that he's a product of manifest destiny, that God determined before the foundation of the world that he would become the president of the United States. Now I can clearly say this to you because this is important to understand, that by the fact that he is, by his fruits, which you have all evidenced by the things you are saying, you'll know them by their fruits. The priorities of Scripture he is made here as the President of the United States. Remember, it says that promotion comes not from the east nor the west, but the south. God lifts one up and takes another down. God made this man president. And then, by the fact that he's targeted the inner cities, and all of your evidence that he's doing a great job in reaching the inner cities, it shows the favor of God is on the black community. The Bible says not many wise are called, not many noble are called, but I've called the base things of the world to confound the wise. You are a prophetic sign that revival is coming to black America, and God is using this man to do it.
How about that? Is that amazing or what? Again, we have evidence here. People are stepping up and saying that Donald Trump is part of the divine plan, part of God's plan, to essentially raise the consciousness, to ascend the entire planet Earth into a higher state. And this is what we're seeing happening right now. And now it's starting to trickle down, and the black bishops and the black leaders are starting to get this. This is so amazing and so exciting. And I'm very glad I got to find that clip and play it for you. Sorry for the delay. But that was worth hearing. I hope you enjoyed that. Okay, so that is our intel for tonight. And we're going to go ahead and get into our question and answer part of our program. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch over. And then we'll also take your email questions.
Q&A session has started.
Okay, so you can star 6 and ask questions, but we're also going to go to our emails, and I'm going to bring our co-hostess Maria Love back on the line, and she's going to help me with our questions tonight. So, Maria, are you there? And why don't you start off with some questions that you have received from your emails or your text. Are you there? Okay, well, I'll start with my emails here, and we'll wait for Maria. Let's see. By the way, I have nothing to do with, let me just make this announcement real quick, because I meant to say this earlier. I have nothing to do with orders, processing, shipping, or knowing anything about that regarding the iGuard. I have nothing to do with any of that. I'm just a spokesman. Everything is done through Magical Ways. They do all of the ordering and shipping and processing, so I can't answer any questions about your orders. Not only that, I don't even have an iGuard, and I cannot help you with the operation until I actually receive mine. And Maria Love and I will be working on that together to help you. So for now, I really can't answer any questions other than what I've already done about the iGuard. Okay? But I'm happy to send you the instructions to those who need. Send me an email, and I will be happy to do that. Okay. Let me go to the questions now that I've got. Maria, are you there?
I'm here.
There you are.
I am.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
There's one question so far from Janet B. She says, what do you know about Jeff Bezos? Should I be worried that my son was hired by Amazon?
Well, Jeff Bezos is definitely cabal. He is definitely a bad guy. He will definitely be arrested at some point. Amazon is certainly not a good company to work for, in my opinion, what I've heard. I've never worked for them, so I don't know specifically. But I would just let your son discover that for himself. He'll be fine, I'm sure. Okay? So just be aware that Jeff Bezos does not have a good reputation. He's a really bad guy, and all you got to do is look at the Washington Post, which he also owns, a terrible newspaper. Okay? Anything else, Maria?
Yes, there's another one that just came in, and it's from DD. I have seen that there are 4 assassination teams that have been dispatched to get President Trump. Is this true? And also, is this the reason he has been sequestered away from the public?
Well, I don't know where that information came from, for assassination. I don't know where that. I haven't heard that. Yes, he is being protected as this whole military operation ramps up to a really intense portion of it, because this is coming down to the bitter end here. This is the climactic stage we've all been waiting for. So yeah, they're going to do everything they can to protect the President, First Lady, and other important people in the administration. So I don't know anything about 4 assassination teams. Okay, this comes from Deborah. Hi, Scott. One of your listeners brought this up, and I'm still questioning it. If Joe Biden and Hillary or any of the bad actors have been terminated or sent to Gitmo or replaced by a clone or a double, as far as the public is concerned, that is still them. They don't know it's the original person. And so if people vote for a clone Biden, it is still a vote for Biden. It seems if these clones and doubles are walking around, it won't make any difference. They are actively working for the cabal and actively working against President Trump. When will we be rid of the clones? Well, that's not the way it works. The Patriots control some of the clones, and they get them to do and say stupid things. And one example, I think, is Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton has done more damage to the Democratic Party than she's actually helped them. This is why they want to get rid of her. Don't run, Hillary. And no, when are we going to get rid of the clones? I don't know. When they get arrested, I think publicly we'll know that all the clones have been addressed. And only then, really. Okay? Okay. Okay, so Karen writes, I hear you talk about GESARA and the RV. Not sure what the RV is all about. Could you explain that? So the GESARA, of course, is the Global Economic Security and Reformation Act, and part of GESARA is what's called the revaluation of global currencies. We have currencies that are actually essentially worthless. This includes the Vietnamese dong, the Iraqi dinar, the old Zimbabwe dollar, which was astronomically inflated. Took $3 billion to buy yourself a few eggs. That's how crazy it got in Zimbabwe with inflation. And so what they're going to do is level the playing field. So the RV is about level playing field of all currencies around the world to bring them into a standard or an economic footing that is competitive with all other countries, or at least on par. And that's what's about to happen. You're going to see all global currencies sort of leveled out because the economic hitmen went into these countries and destroyed.
Scott, you're not there. I guess I got to text him. Sorry about that, you guys. Yeah, he got knocked off. He'll call back in just a minute. Right in the middle of the question here. Hope everybody's enjoying the show and got a lot out of it tonight. There was a lot of information that was really great to hear. And boy, I tell you, we're going to see so much happening this month of October. It's going to be amazing. I don't know if we'll have our heads swimming or not, but, we just got to stay prepared for all kinds of really interesting information and also some information that might sound kind of weird, but they all have a plan. Remember, just to trust the plan and not get too wound up with, emotions. Because we've already won, people. We already have won, and all this has to live itself out now, which is really cool. We just go to bed sleeping and know that we're all taken care of. But be aware, be safe, be careful. And again, I want to just thank everybody that has come on the call tonight to support Scott and support yourself. Thank you so much. And I know that, in these coming days, we are just going to be dancing and dancing and dancing. Maybe learn some new steps. All right, Scott, it's all yours.
Thanks for covering for me. I got knocked off.
You're welcome.
As I anticipated. So my apologies. I was trying to answer that question regarding the RV, and I apologize I didn't get to finish. But let me just conclude by saying that the RV is intended to right the economic situation in the world, to bring it on par, to bring it on equal footing so that we can have economic prosperity for all nations. And this is going to come to third world countries and to economically deprived people all over the world. So that's what this is all about. Okay, I'm going to go to the queue now and open up, and we'll take a few questions tonight. (7246). Are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Who's this?
I'm John.
Okay, John, you have a question?
Yes. So, do you think there will be an official announcement of GESARA, and with regards to that and the restored republic, where we're no longer the USA corporation? Do you think that there will be a debt jubilee and, a massive payout of all the money that they've stolen from us in the form of income taxes, etc.?
Well, that's a lot to answer. So let's take it one at a time. Well, there'll be an official announcement, not initially, maybe at some point, but I think everything is going to happen gradually and slowly be instituted as to not alarm people too much. So it's not called NESARA anymore. It's called GSARA, the Global Economic Security and Reformation Act. It's already started to happen, and it's happening slowly. Debt relief is definitely starting to happen, but it's going to take some time. It's not going to all happen at once. There's not going to be one massive event. It will start with companies starting to forgive mortgages and credit cards and bank-related loans, student loans and car loans, and it'll just start to sort of happen under the radar. You'll notice maybe on your credit report or on your bill or your statement, your balance has been zeroed out, but it won't happen for everybody at the same time because of all the different companies and everything. So it's going to happen gradually, and it'll pick up steam, particularly after President Trump is reelected. Now, as far as the payouts, there won't be a massive payout to people. It'll come in the form of the stimulus payments, and it'll come in other programs that are going to be made available to people. As far as a massive payout, I would not expect that, but there will be economic readjustment. There'll be some programs put into place, and it will probably evolve more over time as people are told the truth. So I would say don't expect something big at first. Expect it to be gradual and then build up over time. Okay, John?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, thank you for your question. God bless. All right, let's go to our next question. The next person. We've got 5143. Hello, are you there?
Yes, hi Scott, it's Karen up in Kirkland.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, I want to thank you for a wonderful call and the dedication to your work. This is like therapy to me, and I so appreciate you.
Okay, Karen, I'm going to have to bill you for that. Okay, you're going to have to be billed for therapy sessions.
Well, I do send you donations from now and now and again.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I know. It's great. I love a quick wit. I have a question next time you talk to Ron. I have my iGuard and I love it. I figured it out. It's like an oversized smartwatch.
There you go.
You mentioned something about playing the frequencies all the time because we're being bombarded, and I really got hit hard yesterday. I've been wearing the watch, but I didn't think to put the frequencies on unless I have the headphones on, which is incredibly effective. So my question is, how effective is it just to play the frequencies low level and then just wear it throughout the day?
Well, I've never used an iGuard, and I don't even have one yet. I know you do, and Maria does, and many others on the call do. So I have not experienced that, but my understand is, as I read tonight the statement, just wearing it and turning it on, making sure it's charged, is very effective. But then you add the headphones and all of that part, and it's a doubly amazing experience. So I will have more information for you as we get. I'm expecting to receive an iGuard very soon, and then we're going to go over this again on a call. And I don't actually speak to Ron the inventor. I had him come on the call. It was arranged for us through Magical Ways, so I don't have access to Ron, but we will be bringing him back on another call, probably, hopefully, maybe this month, and you can ask your question yourself. How about that?
Wonderful. This thing is amazing, and I encourage everybody to get one. And all I can
So your
say
experience
is,
has been pretty good so far?
Oh my gosh, when I'm playing these frequencies, I'm incapable of having a negative thought.
Okay, that's amazing.
And that's huge.
That's quite a statement there, Karen.
So I'm very, very grateful.
Good.
And it's not too hard to figure out. Initially, I had problems, but I just kept on it, and I kept playing with it, and I figured it out.
And initially, you thought it was a little bit too big, but now you've grown accustomed and you realize its benefits, right?
Yeah, and I'm grateful the screen is as big as it is, because it's a little tricky touching the different points on it to set things.
Okay. Well, that's great.
But it's okay.
That's great,
it's
Karen.
good.
I'm glad to hear that,
thank
and I'm
you.
glad to hear it's helping you. And hopefully it's going to help many of you on the call tonight that have ordered it. So again, iGuards are being shipped out. If you haven't received yours and you placed your order, it's coming. Huge shipment is going to go out this week, so look for that. But Karen, I really appreciate your testimonial and your feedback, and we'll look forward to having Ron back on our program very soon. And by the way, those of you who would like to order the CDs, I'm going to be sending those out this week as well from the interview with Ron. If you ordered those, or if you want to order those, just let me know. Make sure that I've responded to you and I have your address, your mailing address, so that I can send those to you. Okay, thank you, Karen. Anything else?
Yes, one more thing I'd like to say. I'm commenting on what you said in the call about how we're moving into a higher frequency space, and I honestly think this iGuard will help ease it for us.
That's what it's supposed to do, Karen. You're exactly
It'll
right.
make the passage smoother. Yeah, it's amazing.
Great.
So thank
that's
you.
awesome.
Thank you for being connected to them, and thank you for everything you do.
Thank you, Karen, and I'm glad you're having a great experience with it. Thanks for sharing.
Me too. God bless.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Karen. Up next, we have 4313. Are you there?
Yes. Hey, Scott. It's Ray.
Hi, Ray.
Hey. As far as the GESARA, what about, I know there are a number of government agencies that have direct loans to people and also government guaranteed loans. Do you know if those are going to be eliminated in the GESARA process?
Well, I don't know specifically about those as of yet. All I know about is the bank-related loans, but I would imagine as this rolls out that there's going to be massive readjustments to the government and to the whole process. Are you talking about maybe agencies like Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae or such? Is that what you're referring to, or tell me more specifically?
For instance, the USDA has a lot of direct government loans, single-family housing loans in rural areas, and they also have a guarantee program where they guarantee the loans for people that don't have a down payment. They provide 3%. So those loans, where the government is the lender.
Right. I think the government's going to get out of that business altogether, and I think there's going to be a massive readjustment and all that. And
that'd be great.
I would imagine a lot of those loans will be forgiven. So we'll see. I don't know when that will happen, but I foresee so many changes coming to our government because it's a fraudulent government. It has to change, Ray. That's part of the requirements of GESARA, is to be transparent, is to be rid of corruption, including those who are corrupt politicians. And every country has to clean their act up to participate in it, okay? So I would imagine you're going to see a lot of those programs go away.
Hey, never a dull moment, huh?
You bet. We're about to get really exciting here. Trust me.
Great. May you live in interesting times.
You do, indeed. Thank you, Ray, for your question.
Thank you.
God bless. Okay, let's go back to our Maria Love, if she has anything for us. Maria, any questions come in that I should be answering?
There's a couple, or one. This is a statement by Ron, and also he has a question. He says, all currencies will be trading tomorrow in their gold-backed form. And then he says, Joe Biden was wearing a wire device for the debate. Why doesn't Trump team find a way to jam his wire device during the next debate and make a fool of him by leaving him speechless?
Well, I think Joe Biden does a pretty good job by himself of making a fool of himself, as he did at the debate. Told 33 lies. He was just constantly lying, denying things that have already been proven true. I'm not sure he needs much more help than already he's a disaster. So, yeah, I'm sure the Trump team was well aware of the wire Joe Biden was wearing, but again, that's not the real Joe Biden. We don't need to worry about Joe Biden. I'm so not concerned about Joe Biden, because knowing that it's not the real guy, knowing that he's so incompetent and just pathetic as a candidate, shouldn't even be running. And President Trump is so much stronger and more proficient and more capable. I just see this election being really huge. The only thing I'm concerned about, folks, is what the Democrats are going to do to contest the election. What kind of games do they have in store to delay the results? That's my only concern, really. Joe Biden, I'm not worried about. I'm not worried about any Democratic candidate, to be honest with you. I am worried about what the deep state is going to do to disrupt the election and the results. Okay? So that's where I'm coming from on this. Okay?
There's one more here.
Go ahead.
I was just saying that this lady, Christine T., says that my electric bill, when I tried to pay it, said I owed $0. And this was on September 30th. It was on that due date. So she hasn't paid her. I mean, it didn't come up that she needed to pay her electric bill.
Well, isn't that
so
interesting?
Yeah.
Well, good for you, Christine. That's great. I hope it continues. But free energy is coming to us, folks, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me answer an email question here. This comes from Michael. Hey, Scott, I've been hearing about a $1,400 a month UBI starting this month. Wondering if you've heard from your sources. No, I haven't heard $1,400. I've heard the figure of $1,200. Michael, that's all I've heard so far. I'm going to go back to the queue now and take another question. Okay, up next, 0670.
Hi, Scott. It's Greg from PA. How you doing?
Hey, Greg. How's it going?
Great call, buddy. I missed what you said about the Snowden and the DOJ, I think October 2nd.
Yeah, there was a press release from the Department of Justice, and it was posted in a Q message. So let me find it. I'll read it to you again.
Okay.
But this was put out by Q. That's the first that I'd heard about it. Let's see. So the message read, United States, this is from the official Justice Department Twitter. The United States obtains a final judgment and permanent injunction against Edward Snowden. So the press release is dated October the 1st. I'll just read you a little bit of this. On September 29, 2020, the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia entered a final judgment and permanent injunction against Edward Snowden, a former employee of the Central Intelligence Agency and contractor for the National Security Agency. In September 2019, the United States filed a lawsuit against Snowden, and who published a book entitled Permanent Record in violation of the non-disclosure agreement he signed with both the CIA and the NSA. This lawsuit alleged that Snowden published his book without submitting it to the agencies for pre-publication review in violation of his express obligations under the agreements he signed. Additionally, the lawsuit alleges that Snowden has given public speeches on intelligence-related matters, also in violation of his non-disclosure agreements. The United States lawsuit did not seek to stop or restrict the publication or distribution of permanent record. Rather, under well-established Supreme Court precedent, SNEP versus the United States, the government sought to recover all proceeds earned by Snowden because of his failure to submit his publications for free pre-publication review in violation of his alleged contractual and fiduciary obligations. So it looks like they're trying to recover profits he made off this book.
Right. So the cabal basically is...
Edward Snowden is part of the cabal. He's not what he appears to be. He worked for the CIA, infiltrated the NSA, and exposed their program that they were using to surveil everyone around the world, including the cabal.
So he's
So
part.
it was
He's
important.
He's part of the cabal
Right. Snowden has
That's
been part
what
of the cabal from day one.
from day one. Okay, that's what you come. One other thing, I want just a statement for your listeners and yourself. And my colleague and I were discussing it this morning, and we go back to Y2K 2000, and we go back to Russell J. Gould, and he said, I'm really thinking, and we follow you, and we follow a lot of different other things, and he said, I really think Y2K happened, but they never told us it happened because of what happened with Russell J. Gould, but they didn't tell us that, taking over the flag in 1999, because then we had
What do you
Y2K.
mean Y2K really happened? What do you mean? Because
it never, Y2K never really happened the way they said it was going to happen, correct?
It didn't.
That was the end of everything.
Scare tactic.
The scare tactic, right. But in actuality, they were covering up what Russell J. Gould did by securing the flag, and then we had, obviously, 9/11, 2001, the year later.
Right.
So we were just talking about this is something to think about.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that there was some funny business going on with Y2K to cover up something nefarious. There's no doubt about that. But I'm not sure if it relates to Russell J. Gould. I hadn't heard that before, but it's certainly a possibility.
Right. We were just thinking about that, just a thought. Anyhow, great call.
Thank you, Greg. God bless.
Thanks.
Okay, let's go back to the queue, and let's go to 7353. Are you there?
Hey, Scott. Mark from the oil fields of North Dakota. How are you?
Hi, Mark. Got a
So
question?
if I'm walking around with a hologram that stops the coronavirus in 25 feet around, how come the president ain't?
Do you really think the president has coronavirus, Mark?
No, but I was just hoping that you'd say optics too.
Optics? That's right. I don't think he has it. I don't think he ever contracted it. The guy is a machine. He's never sick. He's never stops working. He has got the immune system probably of a super soldier. I don't believe he has it. I don't think he ever had it, and I don't think he ever will. Besides, he was also taking HCQ, which is a prophylactic. I don't think he has it, Mark. I don't think there's any evidence to really suggest he really does.
I'm just afraid that the Democrats are going to all of a sudden say that they have it, and they can't do the Supreme Court nominee.
Well, they might, but we'll see.
Okay.
They're going to try everything they can, Mark.
Exactly, but I'm just saying, I'm walking around with something that I feel extremely confident in, with this virus. I'm 64. I'm a little overweight. But I'm just saying, it just surprises me, and I was hoping that you'd be on the same page about optics also. So, God bless October. God bless America. We'll talk again soon, Scott.
Well, yeah, it's going to be quite a month, Mark. Get yourself ready. Here we go. Thank you, Mark. God bless.
Bye-bye. God bless.
Okay, so Portia writes in and says she can't find the Magical Waves website or the iGuard. That's correct. It's been taken down by the cabal, as we said at the top of our program tonight. So you will not be able to find it. It's not there because the cabal attacked us and took down the website. They've attacked Ron the Inventor. They've attacked me. And, let's say demonic forces are at it as well. But we shall prevail. So have patience. It'll be back as soon as we can resolve these issues. Okay? Maria Love, you got another question for us?
Yes, there is one question. Scott, did you ever see a video that was showing Trump at the desk, and he was telling everybody that he's feeling better and whatever, and it had two flags behind it. It had the American flag with the gold fringe and then the other flag. And there was a question here from Ariel. She says she just wanted to know your thoughts about what the gold fringe on the flag was itself, and she was wondering if it was a coded message.
Well, it is a coded message. As far as we know, it's military law or maritime law, and it's not a good thing for our country. And so, if you notice, whenever President Trump has a press conference with a world leader, there's no gold fringe in the flag. So, I'm curious as to why they're keeping it in the Oval Office other than optics, or is it the fact that this is a presidency that involves the military as much as President Trump taking back our country? So, and maybe that's a sign that they want the people to understand. But no, it definitely has symbology. The gold fringe symbolizes the corporation or the capture of the America, our nation, by the bankers. And that our country has been changed from law of the land or common law over to law of the sea or the maritime law. And so symbolically, that's what we understand it means. And then, of course, you have, and this comes from David Wynn Miller, who we were talking about, Russell J. Gould. He says that the eagle at the top of the flag means Vatican banking. Vatican is controlling it with the eagle with the wings down. If you ever see the symbol of the eagle with the wings down, it's on the front of the building for the IRS. It's on many government logos. Wings down means Vatican control. Okay? Any other questions?
No, that's it.
Okay. Let me go back to my email. In the meantime, I'll go back to the queue. We'll take a question here. 5531, are you there?
Yes. Actually, this is my first time. I just got this number from one of my friends.
What's your name?
I'm sorry. My name is Sherry. And
okay, Sherry.
I heard, and I just want to get your thoughts on this, that Mike Pence is also a clone. Is there anything that you...
Sherry, we've talked about that numerous times on this call, and since you're new, we've been over that many times. And yes, he's been removed as of July of last year. And you can tell by the way he looks these days. He has a faraway look in his eyes. That's not the real Mike Pence. So yes, that is correct.
So, moving forward, as far as vice president, is he just going to stay as a clone, or?
He'll stay as long as they need him. And my understanding is they're going to move a new guy into the role of vice president.
Okay. Yeah, because I just kind of not been able to wrap my head around it, and your guys' call was really interesting, and I just never even, I have been into Dinar and listened to calls, but I've just kind of been out of touch with all of that. And so a friend gave me these call-in numbers, and so I just said, well, I'm just going to listen. So I figured I'd answer that, see if I can answer that question. So, okay.
You're going to see some amazing developments regarding the vice president's office. Just stay tuned, okay?
Okay. So do you guys have calls every week, or?
Every Sunday and and most Wednesdays.
Okay.
So you have to get on our email
list.
You have to get on our email list to get those. Okay. Scott M.
How do I do that?
6975 at yahoo.com, and then put subscribe in the email subject line and include your full name.
Okay. 6975
at yahoo.com. Scott M. 6975 at yahoo.com.
Okay. Scott M. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. God bless.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Up next. 7571.
Hi, Scott. This is Valerie from Arizona.
Hi, Valerie. Got a question?
Yes, I do. Part of it's piggybacking on somebody asking about Eric Snowden. If he's in fact
Edward Snowden?
Yeah, Edward. Sorry, Edward Snowden. If he's in fact a cabal plant or was, how did it benefit them for him to be a whistleblower, or was that somehow benefiting them?
The NSA were the good guys, okay? The bad guys are the CIA, the intelligence agencies, the FBI, which have all been infiltrated, but the NSA was kind of where the good guys reside, and of course the military. And so Edward Snowden outed the NSA program as a spy for the CIA, and then he fled the country, and gave the press conference and exposed everything that the NSA was doing in order to sabotage the good guys.
Okay, but it also kind of backfired because it made us aware of what's been really going on.
Of course it backfired. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I just wanted to clear that up, but I had another question. I've heard more than once that Fox News is part of the big network of mainstream media and owned by the cabal as well, that they just have, it's just, geared towards Republicans or the Red Party. So have you heard that at all, Scott?
Of course. Fox News Corporation, or News Corp, is one of the big six of the big multimedia communication companies like CBS, Viacom. There's six of them